Oh, hello, yes. Well, good grief. Feels very kind of bleaky and midwintery. I know it stopped raining, I know it stopped being windy, but isn't it cold and dark? Yes. Anyway, today, yes, I thought we'd have a look at the inevitable stupidity. There was a crowded field in the Telegraph yesterday, but I did like this one great article, link down below, perhaps inevitably, how Britain's water supply spiralled into chaos and why hiking prices could be the only solution. Privatisation in the 80s made sense, but the mess that followed has left us, the consumers, facing distasteful choices. Yes, it's nice to be a consumer in a consumer choicey sort of way, isn't it? Yeah, intriguing article that suggests somehow magically that back in the late 1980s, when was it? 89, I think it might have been, that they privatised water, that magically, that yes, it was seen as a good idea then, yeah, because Chile had done it, and we know what a powerhouse of economic thought Chile was, cough cough, yes. If ever there was a bad Thatcherite idea, they tried it in Chile. Yes, but of course it's one of these articles that pretends a lot of things. Number one is that there's a market, which there patently isn't. Adam Smith will be turning in a variety of different graves, one can presume. And also, oddly, at exactly the same time, it's a failure of regulation. Now, I don't know about you, but if something's, a failure of the market, how can it be a failure of regulation at the same time? Because I would have thought that markets dislike regulation, otherwise they are not proper markets, are they? No, but you do get this a lot, particularly in the Telegraph. There was another thing as well about the railways. There were some letters yesterday about the railways and how magically, again, gonna have to stop using that phrase, I know, but privatisation is certainly a very good idea. They're always written by people that are quite high up in the industry. Yes. But I don't know, it's just astounding to me that people are still defending water privatisation. And the reason is, of course, that it's politically expedient to do so, despite the fact that every single tiny little bit of evidence suggests very strongly it wasn't. Anyway, in terms of really distasteful things, there's a lot of people are already jumping up and down about Syria because obviously we don't want a very, very nasty Islamist group to take over. We far preferred it when it was that nasty Mr. Assad. But over the years I have certainly noticed that we only ever hear that the governments are very, very bad at particular times. You remember the Arab Spring, where the British media suddenly woke up to the fact that there were loads and loads of really horrible countries out there that we really shouldn't have any dealings with, like Mubarak's Egypt. But nobody bothered to tell us with this at the time. But we do love, don't we, to make sure that the right nasty, horrible, murdering gits that we deal with are the right murdering gits, eh? So there was this. Saudi Arabia's 2034 World Cup bid to be ratified by FIFA despite rights violations. Remind you of any recent news stories? Potentially. Gulf State awarded the tournament amid accusations of sports washing over exploitation of its migrant workforce. Yes, you may remember yet another football tournament there was not very long ago, whereby lots of people were pointing out for a very, 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 very long period of time about all the dead people there were building stadiums in 40-degree heat in what amounts to a desert state. But of course, it's business, isn't it? And we know how well business is, and we know how important it is that businesses are allowed to thrive no matter what, eh? Especially football and other kind of sporting activities. Yes, odd that we get all those F1 races in some very, very odd states again. Why? Because it looks good for the state, and they can pretend to people that they are somehow beacons of light and democracy. But of course, all they are merely are Western-leaning, very, very, very nasty, brutal dictatorships. And the problem with Assad and Syria was that it was a very, very, very nasty, brutal, well, Russian-leaning dictatorship, which means that they're really, really bad. But unfortunately, we come back to that spurious notion I have of being an adult, whereby I'd like to live in a world where we don't have to deal with people that are like this. It might be nice if we dealt, with the Saudis as if they were as obnoxious as they actually are. But I guess that's just me being naive and, realpolitik. Yeah, I know I keep overusing that phrase, but it just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. And this is a story which, of course, will run and run. Not that it'll stop, the the next one being in North Korea or somewhere else that doesn't seem to really care about its own people, or certainly other people's people in these particular cases. Can we just have an ethical policy around these things? Is that entirely possible, or is that just me being entirely stupid? Because I don't think it is. I don't know, perhaps I am, yeah? Perhaps we need the good dictators on our side. Yes, except of course they do tend to flip somewhat, don't they? Yeah, think of Uncle Joe during the Second World War and what a great friend he was of Britain and America. Anyway, do have a lovely day, if you can.